Alrighty, here we are. We are live. What up, y'all? Probably a little blurry because this big old GPU's in the way. What up, Ricardo? Yeah, first, baby. First on any platform. How you doing? Damn. The glove was harder to put on than I thought it would be. What up, Curtis? Oh, having a pretty crappy day, to be honest. But, you know, we're here. We're building a PC. Gonna have some PC build therapy, as it were. How are you? Thank you for the like. Appreciate that. I have to be more careful. I keep saying the names of other platforms, and TikTok really doesn't like that. So I have to be way more careful not to mention the names of other places, because otherwise they really hurt my live streams. So I gotta be more cognizant of that, you know? Just let some people roll in here before we get started. This is a pretty sick build, you guys. This is a stream PC. I've built 4 or 5 PCs for Spartacus now, and yeah, this one is, it's pretty nuts. What? I didn't even say anything, TikTok? Bro, how is TikTok saying that I'm doing something that I'm not? I didn't do anything. We got a 9950X in here. I didn't say anything, TikTok. Why am I getting flagged? We are using the Fractal North XL in this War Flipper. TikTok's the G word, that's why. I don't get it, dude. I said no, I didn't mention, I said the word platform, but like, I didn't say anything else. I don't know how they could think I'm possibly trying to push people other places to sell them something. It doesn't make any sense. What up, Troy? I don't get it. I didn't do anything wrong. And TikTok's just being TikTok, and now they're not gonna show my live stream to anybody because they think I did something wrong. It's crazy. War Flipper, I am over there. I'm on purple, red, green, and TikTok. So I'm kind of everywhere right now. And my phone is going nuts right now. You rebuilt your pre-built you got for free and went with an 7900X? Heck yeah. Yeah, this thing is nuts. Am I building on stream? Yeah. That's why we got all these parts here. Appreciate that one. Yeah, I'm all over the place, Warfliper. All right, let's talk about today's build because it's a doozy. So this is a stream PC, okay? We've got a Ryzen 9 9950X. We've got 3 terabytes of storage, 64 gigs of RAM. We've got the RTX 5090, 360 millimeter AIO from Arctic. We got the Creator Wi-Fi from ASUS and a 1600 watt power supply. Got a couple of extra case fans we're gonna throw in there. Then we've got the Fractal North XL. This is the mesh version, so it actually doesn't even have a side glass panel. It actually has a mesh metal glass panel. Yeah, this is sick. This thing is all performance, no flash. It's just gonna be nuts though. After doing a lot of research and learning, I wish I would have went with the 7800X 3D. Yeah, it's definitely better for gaming, that's for sure. Can you stream with 32 gigs of RAM? Yes, you can. Do I have one PC that runs all your streams? Trying to configure a stream PC that goes to 2 platforms with a 3600X and a 3060. I do have one. My one PC is going to every stream. If you're not gaming on that PC with a 3600X and a 3060, you should be able to do it just fine. And you probably want like 32 gigs of RAM on that. Maybe 16, it'd be okay. Just a budget build. No big deal. Yeah, it's gonna be a sick PC. There's no question about that. What up, Ahmad? Want to see that case because I'm over here. Don't know what case to choose right now because I'm on a budget case. This is not a budget case. Let me be clear. This is not a budget case. Nothing about this build is for being on a tight budget. Going for the 9800X 3D for stream. I hope it's enough. I wouldn't get a 9800X 3D for stream if you're just streaming on the PC. If you're streaming and gaming, sure. But if you're just streaming, like, you could get like a 7900X or 7700X, 9700X. You could even go like older platform and get like a 13th gen Intel, something like that. Like, you don't need a lot to stream. This is super overkill. Best GPU for running LLMs? I have no idea. I don't know anything about language learning models. Okay, let's get started on this build because I've had a crappy day and I need some build therapy, okay? Oh, my back hurts. I played basketball last night. My body hurts. It hurts. What's your thoughts on the 5080 for 4K gaming? The 5080 is generally good for 4K gaming. It's not really, they wouldn't really consider it a 4K card because it doesn't have enough VRAM, but you can play it most games on 4K, especially if you utilize DLSS. Yeah, the 9800X 3D is better for gaming, but I think if he was talking about just a stream PC, you don't need that. Computer surgeons. Well, hopefully no surgery required today because this is a brand new computer. Look at all this extra stuff we got in here. Look at all this extra stuff. Yeah, so the 5080 is technically not like a 4K card, as they would say, but you can definitely play games on 4K with that. You just might not be able to put it on like super high settings if you want good FPS. All right, here's our motherboard. The ASUS ProArt Creator Wi-Fi. This thing looks a little off. There we go. That's what I need. Just a little of that. There we go. Have you seen ASUS new ROG gaming monitor? I have not seen that. That's crazy though. 720 hertz. Like, unless you're playing like CS2, I don't see a reason why anyone would spend the money to get 720 hertz monitor. can't stay here long. We'll watch the live later. All right. Appreciate you coming in, Ricardo. Appreciate you being first. All right. 9950X. Boom. All right, let's get our storage going. We've got a 1 terabyte and a 2 terabyte. The 1 terabyte is going to be the OS drive, and then the 2 terabyte is going to be for additional storage. Look at that fancy release system. The brightest OLED on the market. I mean, I'm sure it's nice, but like, nobody really needs 720 hertz. Let's be honest. You just don't. Gosh, something on my eye. Boom, 1 terabyte installed. Let's get our 2nd terabyte in here. YouTuber, by the way, if you don't know, and my PC stopped working for no reason. I think it's my old motherboard stopped working because it started to rust. You're getting rust on your motherboard? That sounds pretty bad. And your RX 580 stopped working? Jeez. I mean, that's pretty, if you're rocking an RX 580, like you're getting pretty old there in terms of your components, so stuff doesn't last forever. Just bought the 5080 Aorus Master. Have doubts about the 4K monitor. I mean, personally, especially if you play any sort of like first-person shooter type games, I would just go 1440. Like, you could even go 1440 OLED, and I think you would be really happy with it. I want to double check something on here and make sure that there's no sharing of lanes. Because sometimes, especially with these nicer boards, some of these M.2 slots share lanes with the GPU, and I want to make sure that that is not the case for the one I just put it in. Expansion slots. Storage. Doesn't say anything there. Let's go to support. I should have checked this before. Don't come after me for that. User manual. How about a user manual in English? It's Japanese, Chinese. User manual English. Let's pull that out. Okay, here we go. This is what we need. Expansion slots. PCG5 _1 and PCG5 Gen 2. They will run at by each. Okay. Shares bandwidth with M.2 slot. Okay, so if we use this, this slot is limited to by 4 mode. So let's use maybe this one right underneath it. So they don't plan on using this second slot, I don't think, but we'll just do that anyways, just in case. There we go. So this is gonna go there, so we need to take this guy off. It's the creator, it's the Asus ProArt creator Wi-Fi for the X870E lineup. Yeah, awesome sauce is right, Van. ChatGPT is great for answering these kinds of questions so you don't waste time searching for the manual. Well, ChatGPT also, if it can't find the actual answer, has been known to make up answers. So I would rather take the 10 seconds or 30 seconds it takes to find the manual. Because I know where to find the manual. It's pretty straightforward. Man. Okay, so we got our CPU in there. We've got our SSDs in there. Let's get our RAM installed. This is a 64 gigabyte kit, which, as you probably know, has ridiculously gone up in price, so that's fun. Cool. And then we need to get our cooler out here because I'm pretty sure we have to replace some bolts and stuff on here. ChatGPT can't find everything. I'm sure it probably can find a manual that's available online, but like, I'm not taking that chance. Why would I use ChatGPT, which probably will take just as long as me actually finding the manual and knowing what to look for? I don't see a point. The motherboard is super clean, yeah. Why do builders assemble everything on the motherboard before putting it in the case? Oh, it's easier. 5090 for streaming is pretty wild. You're not wrong. It's not necessary in any way, shape, or form, but that's what they want. That is what they want. So that's what we're doing. All right, so we got left and right. So let's pull these guys off. What up, G-Dog? Yeah, Curtis, it's just easier to do everything on the motherboard before you put it in the computer. Everything's more accessible. The PC is going to be insane, and this is like a no frills PC. So there's no RGB, there's no, flashiness. It's all just performance. This is just pure performance. Dirt Diggler with the follow, thank you. How much would that build cost? It's like $6 grand right now. For me to build it for you. It used to be cheaper, but RAM prices and 5090 prices are pretty crazy right now. Yeah, it's gonna be minimalistic in terms of looks, not in terms of capability. Can I zoom on the motherboard? Not easily, no. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to see everything else on the thing. Yeah, 6K it's absurd for like most people, but when this is like your full-time job and they're doing crazy stuff with it, like I get it. It makes some amount of sense. All right, so there's our CPU cooler brackets. And let's get the case up here. This, oh my gosh, that thing is heavy. This is our case, the Fractal North XL Mesh Edition. So there's no glass panel on this baby. It's all about the airflow. This thing actually has a really cool feature, the XL in particular. Once I get this off, you'll see it. That right there, that little cage. So this little cage, you can actually mount more fans. So I'm gonna mount two 120 millimeter fans here, and we'll use those as additional intakes for the GPU and stuff. It's pretty cool. But I have to take it off right now because it's kind of in the way. Come on. They're really still in there? I feel like I'm just backing it out of the bracket at this point. Maybe not. All right, there we go. Okay. Take this top piece off as well. That piece off. Got some silica gel in there. That's it, I'll take 3. All right. You got it, dude. Send me that money. Why is it so popular? I literally see everyone using it. This case. I don't know. I think people really like the aesthetic of the Fractal North. Like, it's just like, it's pretty simple. It's got that super nice wood front and like the brass accents. I think a lot of people are liking that look right now. I mean, obviously it's very well made, but it is big. This is the XL version, so this is much bigger than like the standard one. Like, you can kind of get a sense of how big it is when I put this motherboard in here. So that's how big it is. Look how small that's an ATX motherboard in there. You can fit up to eATX in here. But yeah, pretty crazy. What would be a strong PC for gaming and streaming? The signature PC that I have on the website would be a really good option. So that's got like a 9900X and a 5070 Ti. That's like perfect 1440p gaming and streaming simultaneously. Okay, typically those are the motherboard screws. It doesn't actually say on this little thing, so we'll just try one of them, and if it isn't wanting to go in, then it's the other one. Keep doing what you're doing, appreciate it. Let's see, is this the right? Nope. It's not the right size. It's not these guys. Here we go. Okay, so it's these guys here. Oh yeah, those have a much bigger thread. Okay, let's put these guys in here. I could have checked the manual, but what's the fun in that? What up, Doyle? Save and upgrade? All right. You said hi, and I already said hi back. Yeah, this is my first time building in the XL model. I've built in the standard Fractal North, and even that one has a good amount of space, and it's very nicely built. You rate my GPU CPU combo, RTX 5060 at 12600K. That's great. I mean, considering as a combo, like not overall versus other things, as a combo, I'd say that's like 9 out of 10. In terms of like performance versus other things available, you know, probably like a 5 or so, 6, just because there's so many better things out there. But like those two together make a really good combo. Waiting to see what some Black Friday sales look like for the 9070 XT. It's already pretty darn cheap, man, as far as like compared to what you could get it for shortly after it came out. So I'm not convinced it's going to go down much more than that. Like all the GPUs right now have pretty much dropped to like MSRP besides like the 5090. Okay. There we go. That is in there. Switch you guys on over here. You're running RX 7600. Nice. Okay. I think it's time to get Lazy Susan out here. All right, let's get this front I/O plugged in. We've actually got a nice little thing here. It only holds one more fan than it already has in there, but some of these have daisy chains on them. So the extra case fans we put in, we'll hook them up to that. All right, here's one of our fans, just like that. Let's get our HD audio, yes, over here. Gosh, this is just such a nice case. I mean, for $200, I guess it should be nice, but. All right, USB 3, got that right here on the side. I didn't just burp, you burped. Actually, I think this guy, instead of going down there, I might save space for that for the side fan, or the rear fan or something, or the side fans. So I'm gonna put this right here. Okay, so there's a fan. Let's get our USB-C in here. That's gonna go right above those guys. Like that. Okay, and then we've got our front panel header, which is kind of short. I think we'll just go through here. just like that. Okay. Just came from TikTok. Hey, welcome in, Dirt Diggler. When I rebuilt my pre-build, I just got a 9060 XT for the time being. That's a great card. Did you get the 16 gigabyte version? It's okay. It doesn't like Battlefield. Oh yeah, that makes sense. Why does the XMP for the i5 12600K only go to 3200 when my RAM sticks can go to 3600? That could be the motherboard's limitations. It could be that the motherboard can't support anything above 3200. But it could also be that there's multiple, you could have multiple XMP profiles for your RAM. Like that is a thing. And so you could be selecting the wrong XMP profile. That's always a possibility. All right, let's get one of our fans out here and install this rear fan. I think there's plastic on that. What do I do with my little plastic guy? There it is. Looks like there's some plastic covering this thing. Yeah. I was hoping we would be able to mount fans down here, but it doesn't look like that's going to be the case. So, oh well. Okay, so we'll mount this guy right up here. Oh. I guess let's open this bag of bolts up first. Yeah, 16 gig, nice. Yeah, that's a great card. There's absolutely nothing wrong with the 9060 XT 16 gig. Yeah, so I mean, you could check your motherboard might say in the like motherboard manual what speeds it can handle. But yeah, I would definitely double check and make sure there's not a different XMP profile that you're just not seeing. All right, so there's our rear exhaust fan. We're gonna run that over to here. I think we might have to daisy chain this up because I don't think that cable is quite long enough. Got a little hook here to run our cable through, keep it nice and clean there. So that guy is gonna be really tight to try and run all the way over there. So I'm gonna run it and daisy chain it in to one of these guys instead. Just like that, and then we'll tighten that down to these when we get to that point. All right, so all that stuff's installed. Let's get our power cables going. Yo, what up, Richard? What's your opinion about 5060 for laptops? It's going to be usable. And maybe it's gotten better since like I had like a 3060, but I kind of struggled to play games on the 3060. The 5060, I mean, like you can probably play pretty much any game at 1080p low settings. Kind of depends on what CPU you have too. Dude, this power supply is a beast. 1600 watts. Oops. Smack my microphone there. Thank you, Richard. i7-13650. That's not bad. I think the H model is. I'm trying to remember their naming scheme. I think the H model is one of the decent ones. The U is the one that's like super slow. I think H is one of their better models because the HX is their like best CPU model for mobile. What are you talking about, Michael? All right. So we got PCIe. We don't need that. Got SATA. Doesn't look like we need that for the CPU cooler. SATA. Molex. All right. Motherboard power. Need that. SATA. PCIe. Molex. There we go. GPU, we actually have, you can do dual 600 watt GPUs out of this thing. There's a CPU, there's another CPU, so that's all we need right there. It's just those guys. GPU, CPU, and motherboard power. All right, let's get our CPU power cables in here. TKS, I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means. Okay, there's one CPU power cable. Oh, it means thanks. Too old for you guys to be using acronyms on me. Too old for that, you guys. My daughter's not old enough to teach them all to me, you know? All right. So these cables are pretty long, but I don't know that they're long enough to run all the way over there. No, not really. All right, so these guys are going to go this way. All right, motherboard power. What's the total on this build? It's around 6K. Unfortunately, RAM, SSD, and 5090 prices definitely drove that price up more than it should be, but not much I can do about that. This one actually ended up being a little bit cheaper because I had one 5090 in stock at a slightly lower price than like what you can buy them for online right now, so I was able to save them a little bit of money on that, like a few $100. Okay, here's our motherboard power. All right, let's get this baby hooked up in there. Michael, what are you saying? Loan a kidney. There you go. Dude, parts are expensive right now. Like, so 64 gigs of RAM right now went from being around $200 to $250 to like around $500 right now. Like a 32 gig kit has doubled in price as well. It went from around $100 for most models to $200. It's stupid. And the 5090s have not come down in price at all either. Oh, this actually, hold on. This one's actually designed to go through the back plate here. I was like, that's looking a little tight. That's why. Okay. Motherboard power is going to be a little bit more difficult since I plugged it into the other side already. Don't worry, we got this. We're professionals. Okay, got that. Let me catch it on there. Oh, this is such a big such a big power supply. We actually need to take out this second hard drive bay. There we go. Just like that. Put this guy back on. Yo, Richard, thank you for all those likes. Appreciate that. Yes, download more VRAM. This is an order. Anytime you guys see me building on stream, it's an order for a customer. I don't really do upgrades on my system very often. It's pretty rare. All right. I need this guy. Got some extra cable ties in there. But I need these. Can I see your comments? Yes. Sorry, there was a bunch of likes, so I couldn't see the other ones. Richard's liking the stream so many times. Can't see the comments. It is a beast of a PSU. 1600 watts, man. Need your help? My PC isn't working anymore. Okay. You have to shoot me a message. I might have some time tomorrow. This week is kind of crazy, so. You're in the market right now, Matt? Actually able to catch some of the stream from home tonight. Hey, what's up, Trail Tech? I have a 6 gig 4050. You mean to tell me I can't download more VRAM? Unfortunately, that's what I'm telling you. Dude, Michael Cohen, what is going on? Are you having a stroke? Matt, are you saying you're in the market to buy a PC? And you just happened to catch my PC build stream live? I mean, sounds like you need to reach out and we can get a PC build started for you. That's what I'm hearing. I don't know about you. That's what I'm hearing. You know, technically, we can go straight down with this, like that. I've actually seen some builds do that, and it looks pretty clean. I kind of want to do that. Let's do that. Had FPS issues, so mid-game I opened the case and stuck a damp microfiber cloth in there to clean it and stopped. Oh my gosh. you probably shorted something in your system. Yeah, that's probably what happened. Yeah, there's probably something broken in there then. I think I want to go over the top of that guy like that. Okay, so we got all that stuff in there. Let's get our CPU cooler in there, and then we'll do a little more cable management cleanup, and then we can put those extra intake fans in on the side, and then it's wrapped up. It's pretty straightforward build for being ridiculously expensive. The Arctic Liquid Freezer 3 Pro. Let's get this on the table for a sec. I think this is Intel's backplate and stuff. Oh no, it's a LGA. So this is for Intel's CPUs. Instead of using the built-in thing like this, you can. It actually comes with a plate instead. I don't think they have that for AMD. I'm pretty sure that's an Intel only thing. Yeah, because I don't see another one in here. Because AMD actually knows how to design their thing right. Okay. Gotta get all those stickers off. Anything damp with electronics while it's on is not a good idea. It's very true. Maybe I should just clean it in the bath with some soap to get all the dust out. Oh my gosh. No, I would not use soap. I would just use a can of air. All right, so got all those off. I think those cables just plug into this guy. Those cables over there, I think they just plug into this, so we don't actually have to plug into the fans directly at all. So we've got this guy that does the VRM, the VRM fan pump, and this guy instead just does CPU. I don't think we use both of them. Yeah. I think you choose one versus the other. Unless the CPU connector is up here. Which I don't think it is. Yeah, so I think this guy, you control, you have a VRM fan that's on here, you have the CPU fans themselves, and then you have the pump fan, or you can just do it all through a single connector like that. Which means on here, we're actually going to be using all three of these guys. So we've got CPU fan, CPU optional, which is going to be our VRM, and then you've got AIO pump. We should have plenty of space with that radiator up there, but it's just so much easier to install this first before I put that radiator in. So I'm going to do that real quick. Okay. And I'm going to just kind of leave that draped down over here. Let's get all of our bolts for putting our radiator on up top. Bring this on down. This is a thick boy rad. Yeah, sorry, I've had a pretty crappy day. So probably not in the mindset to react to jokes as well as I normally would. Actually, most of the day was fine. It was just the end of the day that kind of ruined the whole day for me. Okay, I need to shift that actually a little bit. There we go. What up, Hatfield? Yeah, I mean, the price on this one was around 6K. Need some Avery cuddles. Wouldn't hurt. Certainly wouldn't hurt. PC looks cheap. Well, clearly you haven't been in the stream long enough. Just because it doesn't have a bunch of stupid RGB doesn't mean it's cheap. Just means it's not flashy. No, you cannot download more VRAM. That is a physical component on your GPU. Oh, she's great. Do you think that AIO would fit in a Lian Leo 11 Mini with an ATX board? It should. It would probably just be a little tight in terms of, like you can see even with how much space we had, this is coming to like the top of the case, or the top of the motherboard. With that smaller mini case, you might be encroaching a little bit further down onto the motherboard, so it might just make installing cables behind it a little bit more difficult. Paid 350 euros for 32 gigs of RAM. Yep, that sounds about right. Right now, it's stupid, but it's yeah. What if the VRAM was in the zip files? No, no. RGB is life. RGB is cool, but doesn't do anything for you. In fact, it detracts from your PC's performance because you have to use software to run it, but yeah. So this build has a 9950X, 64 gigs of RAM, RTX 5090, 1600 watt power supply, 3 terabytes of storage, the Asus X870E Creator Wi-Fi, Arctic Pro Liquid Freezer 3. Yeah, this thing ain't cheap. All right, that's done up there. Put our top panel back on. Just like that. All right. Let's get the CPU cooler block on there. After we put some thermal paste on it. Get a paper towel real quick. Clean up the extra thermal paste. Still not a Mac. Good. We're Mac haters around here. We're Mac haters around here, son. 9800X 3D 5080, 32 gigs of CL26 6000. NZXT. Oh, I've never used an NZXT motherboard, to be honest. What's my thoughts on the Steam PC? I'm interested to see what they actually have in it. I saw like a post about it today, or maybe yesterday, but I'm interested to see what they actually have in it, because it says, they say they can do 4K 60 FPS with upscaling on. I'm interested to see like what sort of components they're actually putting in there. And how much, I wonder how much of a difference it makes to be running Steam OS. Like in terms of just excess things running in the background. I wonder if Steam OS has a much better operating system with less junk just running in the background and ruining your performance. Since it's like it's an OS designed specifically for gaming, you know. DisplayPort better than HDMI? Sometimes. It depends. Depends on what your HDMI port is rated for. It depends on what HDMI cable you have. It depends on what your DisplayPort is rated for. That used to be the case that DisplayPort was always better, but it's not that cut and dry anymore. It's not that simple. All right. I think this guy sits like that. Yeah. Okay. Gotta install this guy. Oh, don't tell me it's not compatible with that heatsink. Can I install this upside down? Seems like it's centered. Get in there. All right, I guess we're running this baby upside down because this giant heatsink that comes with the motherboard. Wow, look at all that. How did that all get on my hand? This giant heatsink that comes for the M.2 is not compatible with this CPU cooler, and I somehow missed that. But it's okay, because we can run it this way. Because AMD stuff is a square, it's still nice and centered, which is very nice. Does mean the VRM fan is not going to be as useful, but that's okay. Just scrolling by, just scrolling, trolling. Hey, I appreciate you being in here. $5, thank you. I will get myself a soda. Higher FPS on DP. It all depends, Troy. The one thing, DisplayPort is open source, and HDMI is like licensed. So it costs money every time a company uses a HDMI port. Like it costs them money to include that in their GPU or whatever it is, you know. But the newer display ports and HDMI ports, depending on what version that port is designed for, they can be just as good as each other. And now that DisplayPort also is not just display, it also does audio. It's not as much of a difference between the two anymore like there used to be. All right, so there's that. that nice and tucked back in there. Let's run that stuff over to the side. That port, there we go. Okay. And then our nice upside down Arctic thing here. Does I need to go on the other side of this? Like that. Or if we need a little bit more space there. I thought that was designed to go there, but maybe it needs to go down a little more. There we go. That's nice and seated. How did I manage to get thermal paste like on the middle of my palm? How did that happen, you guys? It's like all over my hands. I don't know what I did. Okay. Just got a tiny bit on there. We're okay. I can never get it all over me. And there must be some on the outside of the tub of thermal paste right now. All right, so that's all installed. Everything that's in here is installed. All right, let's get our GPU in there and plug that in, and then all we gotta do is put our extra 2 fans up front and route those. And then this baby's wrapped up. It's crazy how fast that went. What up, Andy? Welcome in. Motherboard, GPU, RAM, storage, PSU, case, etc., etc. You get the idea. What's going to hurt my performance? The fact that this is upside down? Is Fractal North XL worth the premium you pay for it? It kind of is. I mean, it's so nicely made. It looks so good. I think a lot of it is the looks. That's what makes it worth it. Thermal paste is like anti-seize. It gets everywhere without noticing. I know, right? The cold plate, if offset, is not offset for AMD. I checked. I looked on the mounting. It's centered. So for Intel, it is not centered. So that would have been a problem. But for AMD, it is centered. So it won't be a problem. Yeah, it's like literally like the mounting and the actual copper plate is completely centered, so we should be good. Is liquid cooling more reliable long-term versus air-cooled? Liquid cooling is going to evaporate over time, so if you're talking 5-7 years, it's probably not more reliable. It does tend to be quieter, it looks better. A lot of times it can perform better depending on what you get. So it's kind of up to you. Can I download more RAM on my PC now? Went on your YouTube live and I can't comment. I think I'm a boomer. Wow. Get bodied. Good morning. What up, Farhan? Exclamation point specs. SPECS. Then thumb screws are the worst on Fractal cases. Yeah, they're pretty hard to. They're not really thumb screws. Like I feel like you have to use. I feel like you do actually have to use a screwdriver on them. That is a downside for sure. Nice. It is a nice case. Yes, this is the Liquid Freezer 3 Pro. Is aiming for a low CL as important on DDR5 as it was on DDR4? Having a lower CL is important, but you have to like be aware that the higher frequency you go, the higher you should expect the latency to be. Yeah, and this Simba, this is the North XL. So this is the bigger one. 5 to 7 years is not that bad. That's more than enough time to get your money's worth before replacing part. Yeah, exactly. Or is the latency on your memory stick not as relevant? It's still relevant. They're just higher numbers. So with the much higher speeds, they are higher numbers. But like, so if you're getting a 6400 kit of RAM, you want a CL32. If you get a 6000 kit, the standard is CL30, but there are some CL28s and CL26s rolling around if you want to pay a little extra premium for that. You said the top 1mm is not covered? This one is definitely covered. I mean, I'll be checking the thermals when I do testing, but it definitely seems to be just fine. Get all of our GPU support stuff out here. RTX 5090 DeForest in a box. Yeah. Oh well. This is a business expense for the guy that I'm building it for, so it's not really a problem. No, this looks different than the non-pro. When I did a non-pro with an Intel mount, it was offset. This one is not offset. It looks exactly the same top to bottom. Like the mounting bolts were directly in the center of the cold plate, whatever you want to call it. Okay, so this guy, we're going to put this in, but this guy, I need to mount this piece to it first. I think it goes like this. Pretty sure it goes like that. Do a almost full Corsair build. For some reason, I just like their parts. Their stuff looks really good. If you do, go to buy it at Corsair.com and use code REDNEK, and you'll get a discount on a lot of stuff. Okay, I'm just kind of putting them in there. I'm not tightening them all the way down. And then I'll tighten them down once this is all the way in to make sure I have plenty of clearances. All right. This is only a 2-slot card, technically. I mean, it looks thick enough to be much bigger than a 2-slot card, but it only uses 2 slots on the side of the case. Whew. It's a tight fit. You can feel it just wanting to sag the moment you put it in there. Oh, is this guy tall enough? I actually need to use the taller one. Yeah, I need to use the taller one. Okay, so this guy's gonna go in like a dish. Hopefully we can reach it there. I think this piece comes off with this guy here. Something else holding that guy in? Let's check and see if there's something on the bottom holding that piece in. No, it doesn't look like it. There we go. Oh, it pulls out and then out. Okay, cool. There we go. Now, I have enough room to stick this guy down here. I needed to tighten these down before I bolted that in, or before I put this in there. Oh, don't want to do that. Oh, it's that guy. It's this piece down here. Okay, so if I shift this forward to the front bolts, then I'll be down on that HDD tray and we'll be good. Okay, so let's do this. Pull this guy back out. Okay. And this has the quick release system, so if you pull it from the left, it just comes out. Cool. No damage. Okay. And on this, I need to pull these guys out. Is this scaring you guys as much as it's scaring me to have that up like that? It seems like a terrible idea. Are you sliding the DDR in the 1 and 3? 2 and 4 from left to right. It's technically DIMM A1 and DIMM B1, I think. Or DIMM A2 and DIMM B2, I think is the technical term for those two slots. Okay, get those nice and tightened down. Oh, I need to take the plastic off those too. Come on, there you go. All right, there we go. Okie dokie. Now, I can put this guy back in. Okay, bolt it back down. Yeah, definitely do that. I would definitely appreciate that if you use my code. Okay, got that in there. Put our plugs back in. Okay, now stick this guy in here like so. Then we need this little guy. Is that the right direction? Oh, you know what? Maybe it's this way. That's probably the right way. Yeah, that works. That works better. Okay, so let's make sure that's not sagging at all. Tighten that bad boy down. Boom. Now we got some nice coverage there. Oh, probably help if I try to plug that in the correct way. Okay, got that all the way in. All right, let's see if we have enough space for our extra fans. Go. Get that back in. Feels like it's getting cross-threaded somehow. There we go. Okay. All right, let's see if we have enough space. What the heck is that extra thing? It must be like a sensor. All right, let's see if we have enough space for this guy to go back in there. Kind of feeling like we might not. It's not too bad. I guess we can mount it up top. No, that radiator's too thick. All right, we'll do it here. Okay, so there's our extra cage to put in a couple of fans. So now that we know that fits, we can actually install them. Just want to make sure it fit first. And we're going to use these as intake fans. Oh, I can't believe that's still not out all the way. Okay, so there's going to be intake fans. We're going to set it down like this. Grab two fans. Looks clean already, yes sir. It was of importance to put 6 in the same channel. Yes, it's still important. You still need to do channels 2 and 4 to make sure that it's in dual channel mode. Okay, so this is going to go like this. So we're going to go right here. And over here. Something like that. those extra bolts? There they are. It's 1 a.m., so I'm going to go to sleep. Good night. All right, will do. Thanks for stopping in, AJ, Alicia. How much is this PC worth? It's around 6K. Native offset mounting for Intel AMD, shifting the cold plate center toward the CPU hotspot ensures more efficient heat transfer. All I know is that thing looks bang on center on that cold plate. So if it's off by, you know, 0.5 millimeter or something, it's not going to be a problem. Says on the Amazon page as well. Is the ROG Ryu a good choice? It's an expensive choice. Yeah, I'm gonna run thermal tests on this when we're done, and we'll see how it does. These cables were just a little bit longer. I have to put this in first, so I don't have to hold it. I can use both hands. Get back in there. Pop this guy out actually for a second to give myself a little more space for my hand to stick in there. There we go, got that. Okay, let's get this guy back in here. Okay, got that. So got that bolted in. Let's tie that down. Okay. All right. It's all nice and neat. Okay, got all those nice and tight. There we go. That is all buttoned up. Get to the chopper. RAM prices are going crazy because AI data centers and stuff are buying up all the RAM, and so they're making server RAM instead of making gaming RAM for us. Does this have an LCD screen? No, it does not. So you would pick on Messenger of how it looks on yours. Yeah, see, that looks different than mine. Like when I put this on, that thing looks pretty well centered. Like that cold plate. The cold plate looks like it's coming kind of right to the bottom edge of the IHS on the bottom. So I think we'll be fine. Like I said, I'm going to check the thermals and we'll know if something's not working right. But there it is, folks. Ugh. That's our build for today. In order to power it on, I actually need to get a different power cable out because the 1600 watts and like I think anything over like 1200 typically, they use a different connection to the power supply. So you gotta get this guy out here and plug him in. All right, who's ready to see this baby turn on? Yeah, worst case scenario, I have to flip it around and we just get rid of this Q release thing on the motherboard and swap for, we'll swap the SSD for one that has like a built-in heatsink and then we'll be good. But I think it'll be fine. Yeah, it could be. All right. First ever power on of this incredible 5090 stream PC. Oh yeah, listen to those babies crank. I'm sure they'll slow down once it starts booting up, but yeah, dude, check that thing out. Check that baby out. So we've got 3 intake fans here. We've got 2 here. We've got 3 exhaust fans up there, 1 exhaust on the back. And yeah, pretty sick build. I have built in the non-XL before. That was weird, it turned itself off. Why are you doing that? Is this power supply faulty out of the box? No, it's not even like, it's not even trying to power on right now. Weird. Interesting, interesting. Well, we've got a second power supply because we're doing 2 identical builds, almost identical builds for him. So, yeah, we'll swap another power supply in and see what happens because that's weird. But, yeah, that's going to be the end of the stream for tonight. I don't know what happened there. Yeah, I think that power supply just pooped itself. You hear that loud like click in the power supply when I just tried to turn it on there? Well, we might have a dud power supply, but we've got another one just like it, and then we'll have to probably reorder or return and replace this one if it's toast. Yeah, we'll get it figured out. I mean, I'm not concerned about that, but that is unfortunate. That is an unfortunate way to end. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the stream, and we'll see you all in the next one. And in the meantime, I'm going to be getting this sorted out. The no RGB look is great. It's awesome. All right, y'all. Have a great night. We will see you on the next one. Goodbye. Goodbye, goodbye, goodbye.